Welcome back to Lost in Roshar, the ultimate journey through the Stormlight Archive. I'm Christian Kremling.
And I'm Jimmy Stormblessed. Today we are diving into an award show for The Way of Kings, which we have now reread in its entirety here on episode 40. It feels like a nice round number. 40 episodes to get through The Way of Kings feels appropriate for some reason. This was my first time rereading The Way of Kings since I read it many years ago now, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, which feels... I'm getting old, but is this your first time rereading? Because the thing about you, Christian, is I know that you do a lot of context reading. So you will pull out scenes, look for keywords, like you're doing a lot of deep diving things, but it's a totally different thing to take the whole book underneath, inspection and read through it again. So is this your first full reread since you read it the first time? Wow.
Yeah, this is my first time, and I first read it in 2017. So that's like a long time ago.
Whoa.
Yeah. And like the way I read it was very disjointed. Like I remember reading about 300 pages and being like, I'm confused. I'm going to go play Overwatch and waste my life for 6 months. And then I came back to it, an enlightened man, and I just burned through the rest. And then I was like a bit overwhelmed, and it took me like 2 years to then pick up Words of Radiance. So it's like a very rocky start.
You would imagine that you'd be doing a podcast, have a YouTube channel dedicated to, you know what I mean? Like that would have never been in your cards, I don't think.
Never would have crossed my mind at all. It was such a different time. Like I remember like reading The Way of Kings, trying to like understand it, and like there was like a couple videos on YouTube, and it was like Daniel Green when he was like, I don't know, like 5 years old, being like, yeah, The Way of Kings is pretty good. I'm like, yeah, there's like a guy making book videos. He's got like 10,000 subs.
He's huge.
Yeah, I'm like, that's massive. Like, wow, good on him. Someone's talking about it. There was no moment in my mind that I thought like, I got to talk about this thing. It wasn't until I finished like Oathbringer, and it was like, it was like COVID. Like, I need a project, and then that's where this all began. And God, have I fallen off the deep end. Now I am Christian Kremling. I am somehow Christian Kremling. My dad was like, show me like the podcast. Like, how's the podcast going? And he like starts playing an episode. He's like, Christian Kremling? What's that? I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. So this is how normal people react.
This is cringe.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like, what have I done to myself? It's like my dark secret.
Finding your nudie magazine drawer. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm Christian Kremling. It's like my superhero. I'm like Clark Kent.
You're in your underwear on outside of your pants.
Safe hand covered like a true gentleman.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
man. It's like it started off so innocent, and here I am being like, guys, what do you think about the Kremling in chapter 42? Because I thought a little bit sus. Hey man, it's quite, there's something poetic, because this was the series that made us first interact, because I was looking for people making videos about it, and I saw this guy with like a seedy mustache talking about The Way of Kings. Like, he seems pretty cool. And that was the birth of the Jimmy Stormblessed Christian Kremling connection as well. So.
Yeah, and I was watching your videos trying to figure out what the hell I was reading, and it made everything a lot easier and more interesting, honestly. Like I still say that your channel is one of the reasons why I didn't fall off completely after I had kind of like a middling experience with Rhythm of War. Like I kind of felt like disappointed at the end of it. But then watching your content and hearing you explain things, I was like, okay, like I can see like there's stuff here. Like there's stuff in this book that's going to be important, and like maybe on reread I'll like it more. But just in general, I mean, you were providing a place for excitement to build. And that's always fun if you're into a series. This is kind of outside of Stormlight, but I remember like deciding to get back into reading fantasy a lot, and you go and you scavenge, Reddit and all these places. And this is before like adult fantasy booktube was like what it is now, which is like oversaturated, right? It's like you look up these things like best fantasy series, and everyone's got their own, but you see the names Malazan, of course, the Song of Ice and Fire, Wheel of Time, Stormlight. Some people say Dresden or Lord of the Rings or some like, I don't know, random David Eddings series from the 80s or whatever. And you're just like, you're thinking about all these worlds that are out there to explore, and you're just like, oh. And I remember looking at the Way of Kings on my shelf and just being like, one day, one day I'm going to get into that and it's going to be all. And, they're humongous, they're bricks.
Yeah.
I had the mass market paperback at first and I would just stare at those bricks and be like, I'm not ready. Like, I'm not ready yet. And I did the same thing with Malazan. There's a certain feeling of like nostalgia going back to this book, of remembering a time where everything seems so esoteric and nebulous and I wasn't sure what awaited me on the other side. And, then so many years later, I've read like 500 or 600 fantasy books since then. And I'm like, oh no, like all the stuff I was really excited about, I've read it all. Like there is a sense of almost like being melancholy that wonder is a little bit gone.
You wish you could go back.
Yeah, to when you didn't know what it was about,
Yeah.
and discovering it for the first time. So, I'll never have that again with Stormlight, but it's been really fun to go back through this and remember how I felt reading it and how much I enjoyed it, but also seeing it through a different lens. And I'm a much better reader than I once was, so I can pick up on some things that I love, maybe some things I don't love as much, right? And some of the things that maybe I want to like, critique or nitpick or whatever. But like on the whole, it's been a very new experience while still scratching the itch of what I had before, which has just been like a lot of fun.
Yeah, agreed. I remember distinctly that feeling of like wonder when I first read it. And I remember starting Words of Radiance and Yasna going into Shadesmar and just being like, oh my God, I need to know what this is about. Like, what's going on? Like, this is so exciting. And there still is that with Stormlight. There's a level of wonder and questions you still feel on the reread, which is fun. But yeah, nothing will recapture that first experience. Just like
the unknown.
Any first time through a fantasy series. I remember like being on holiday with my family and reading A Storm of Swords instead of like taking in the scenery. I was like that kid. And I was just like, Mom, you have no idea what happened to Oberyn. Like, I can't enjoy the beach. Like, I'm going through something. I'll never forget reading that book. Like, there's some books that they just stick with you. And for me, like,
there's a form of escapism when it comes to fantasy that you don't get from any other works because it's a secondary world. And getting, I've lived lives in these other worlds, and it's pretty amazing to think about. And I hope as time goes on, I'll find other stuff or new stuff will come out and I can get lost in those worlds as well. But, we're also sitting here speculating time and time again about book 5 and then what's going to happen in the back half of the series. And there will be a day, Christian, when we look back at this and we will have all those answers. So we should appreciate this time we have to speculate, because it's not always going to be like this.
Man, I looked up the word count, like he was saying it's at 530,000 words right now, and they're like cutting it back a bit. I was trying to get context for that, so I looked up the word count of the Way of Kings. Do you know what the word count is?
350?
380.
380. Wow.
380. So like the next book is sitting at 530
so
currently.
That book would take us probably 60, 70 episodes to get through easily.
My God, that's insane to me. So like my predicted finish it in a week, like a week-long bender of stormlighting. I don't know if it's possible, but a man can try.
Yes, we will give it our damnedest attempt for sure.
Yeah, look, it's hard being a Kremling. You kind of got to crawl across the page. Few words at a time.
Scuttle, if you will.
Yeah, scuttling is the correct term. But hey, man, we sent out a Google, is it a form or a survey? What do they call it?
It was on Google Forms, but it was a survey, kind of wanting to survey the audience and reflect on this reread process and everything. I think before we get into that, do we have any Brandon Sanderson updates? Was there anything that came out? I think he's still recovering or on spring break with his kids, so I don't know anything.
I saw that all the secret projects came out on Audible, so that's an option for people. Now that Audible became a bit more ethical with their practices, he's like, all right, here are my secret projects. So they're out there, but I don't think there's any other real huge update. It feels like the calm before the high storm, one might say, of Stormlight 5.
Yeah, I was actually about to say it too. Like right now, it's kind of like the down period, and then. I mean, coming soon, once he starts releasing those chapters, it's going to be, I assume that'll be our episodes, right?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about these. I wonder when that's going to hit. Probably like October, November, also.
How many chapters are in part 1? Because doesn't he release pretty much all of part 1?
Yeah, he does. It depends on the book. Like how many, like
How many? Let me look.
in our part 1, I think I feel like high teens to early 20s.
Oh, dude, that means we might be starting in June. When's the book come out? November?
December 6th or 7th, around there.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's do some math. Okay.
Is it once a week? Oh God, lost in Roshar math tangent.
All
Forgive
right.
us.
I'm looking at how many chapters were in this first part. Just give me a second, and then you do some math.
About weeks. Oh gosh.
So it's looking like, it depends. He doesn't release the interludes, right?
No, I believe it's just part 1.
Okay. If it's literally just part 1, then it's 11. So let's just say for fun, let's just say 10 to 12 weeks, which is what, 3 months?
Yeah.
2.5, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So December. So we got November, October, September. So round end of August, early September.
Damn.
The podcast will probably
That's
be
insane.
And it's one a week. So
I wonder if he'll do it because it's such a pivotal book. Do you think he will?
Yes.
To build hype.
How
do you feel about the early chapter,
like,
week by week things?
I've never done it. I've never done it because I like that release day hype. I like getting into it, but now we are in a different position. We are content creators, as the grifters say. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So I think we have to. I mean, if we want to be a part of the conversation, we're also not going to be able to avoid them at this point.
Yeah, we'll be receiving span reads. They'll be like, "Why is Kaladin doing such and such?" Like, we're going to get spoiled. So
Kaladin shaved his head and released.
What's that about, guys?
Yeah, it's like Britney Spears. So I think we have to. I've never been big on it, but I won't lie. It makes me kind of excited to think about discussing them weekly with you. It'll be fun. It'll be new. Like, we've never done this on the podcast, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Oh man, I'm gonna just be salivating, waiting, refreshing the page. It's like refreshing the Not a blog. Just waiting.
Yeah, I got a Python script I run every day that just sends me a text and it says no wins yet. I'm like,
Control F wins every day on the Not a blog.
Yep.
Man, that Not a blog was like, I remember I had it bookmarked for many a year. And
still my homepage.
Yeah, still mine's now the Coppermind. Is it actually your homepage?
Yeah, it's my homepage. Yeah, I swear to God. Yeah, on my work computer and my personal computers. Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy,
bro, he's my favorite.
Yeah. Hey, you got to keep your finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
Mine's mine's the Coppermind. It's like, who has updated the page on the stick? I need to know what's the latest.
Approve these changes.
Yeah, I don't know about that. How long until I'm on the Coppermind?
Is Lost in Roshar listed as a resource?
No, definitely not. I saw like I think on the subreddit they've got a sidebar with like podcasts. I'm almost 100% sure we're not there.
Well, 17th Shard are the Coppermind people, right?
Yeah. Do
you think they'd like us?
I don't know. I think we're a bit like, there's levels to this game. You know, there are levels, and they're experts. They're experts. We dabble. I feel like I could hold my own for a little bit, but I think you'd get the
invite. I don't think they're inviting me.
I don't think I'd get an invite, dude.
I think you could get an invite.
I think I'm a casual fan in the eyes of the true expert.
I imagine they would appreciate the work you've put in on your videos. I think
maybe
real recognize real.
Yeah, well, hey, I couldn't have done it without him. Let's be real. There's like, to have a wiki with that much detail and that much dedication is a freaking game changer. The way they annotate everything, every fact they do is linked to a chapter, which has helped me so much, because they'll be like, you know, Dalinar wore short shorts in Oathbringer. I'm like, where is your proof? And it'll have like a little link, and I've got the chapter, and then I can read. So it's like, they're a great starting off point because you can dive a little deeper if you need to.
It's pretty excellent, actually. I mean, the work that they've done there is nothing short of impressive, and really they're embracing like technology and internet and interconnectivity. Like, there are other wikis out there, but I feel like this one started from the ground up from a
Yeah.
from an era that already had technology. You know what I mean? They didn't have to figure it out, which helps out a lot. And the website works great. So shouts out to
Yeah,
them.
because like A Song of Ice and Fire had a great wiki too. That's what helped me get
Mhm.
into the theories. But like one of my other favorite series, The First Law, like their wiki doesn't even have the latest book accounted for on it. You know that
Nah.
sucks. Like,
Yeah, and it's kind of a thankless thing. I mean, for most people, the people who
mm,
like run those type of things, very few people think to about the work that goes into it. So I don't blame people for not making them.
it's yeah, God, what a mammoth task. But like Sander fans are freaking dedicated.
Yeah,
And the 17 shot, as well as like doing the Coppermind and stuff, they like go out of their way to commission art. So we get like amazing depictions of these big scenes. So like they've kept this alive in such a good way. Not just like delving into like, how many BEUs is this and that. Like, but
yeah,
like to get art done, to like keep it relevant, like that's huge.
it
That's
is. It
amazing.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it allows other people also to, create their own things and be able to use them as a resource. I mean, we wouldn't be nearly as organized or informed as we are without them. So, with that, I guess it's time to get into these responses and get into the survey, hand out some awards, possibly.
Ooh, I mean, we've got a few medals at the back, a couple of trophies,
Okay.
some honorable mention certificates,
Oh,
perchance.
little
Um,
participation trophies.
yeah, you've all received a little a golden spren pin. So
Yes.
check your mailboxes. Thank you for participating. We had a huge turnout. I was like, okay, maybe 15 people will fill in this poll. The astute listener, perhaps, but we had hundreds and hundreds of people enter
Yes.
their answers, and I was like, it was so fun just refreshing it every day to see the wacky responses from some of you guys. A lot of banter in our fan base, I would say, in our listenership. A lot of funny answers and interesting takes.
I would like to think that people who watch or listen rather to the
Yeah.
show probably share somewhat of the same sense of humor that you and I do, which is, can be off-putting. At least my humor can be very off-putting. So I'm glad to see some of the listeners' humor shine through
Yeah.
in this survey, and some of them did make me laugh. And there's also a lot of surprising answers here, like not just one or two people, but like some very surprising answers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a tough time making the questions because it's like, wow, such a big book. What do you ask about? And there's one part where I was like, oh, I should have added that as an option. But otherwise, I think it was a pretty good kind of stroll back through the Way of Kings. And it's going to be fun to see who the winners were and to, give some handshakes and hand out some awards today.
Yeah. And I guess it's time to get into the first question. The first question that we had on the survey was, what was your favorite main character POV to read? I don't think the winner is going to be shocking to anyone.
Yeah, I started real controversial just to get some tough responses here. But look, guys, hold your rounds of applause to the end, please. We need to respect all the winners as they approach the stage. But this, the gold medal goes to Kaladin with a whopping 75.5% of the votes here. But hey, looking at this pie chart here, which I will actually add to the episode. I think that would be good for you guys to see. Shallan and Dalinar are neck and neck.
This is the surprise out of this. Kaladin winning's no shocker to anyone.
Mm.
But Shallan only being 0.2% under Dalinar shocks me for how much I often hear that people despise Shallan.
Yeah, it's shocking to me, to be honest. Like, I knew Kaladin was going to win. I thought Dalinar would be quite less than Shallan, if I'm honest. I don't know if that's a weird take. I just feel like
I
Shallan's
thought Dalinar would be
story.
way higher than Shallan.
No, you thought it would be higher. I thought like Shallan would like obliterate him.
No.
Oh,
For how many people complain about Shallan chapters, I 100%, especially because remember, Dalinar has some of the best moments in the book. He's the one that gives up the honor blade. I mean, or the shard blade rather.
I mean, that is huge. I just felt like because he's at the Shattered Plains with Kaladin, I feel
yeah.
like you would pick Kaladin, and then the other people would pick Shallan because it's so different and separate. But hey,
I mean,
happy to be
Adolin,
proven wrong.
Adolin also registered barely with 2% of the vote. He is the the third party in American politics. He just barely made it onto the ballot. But the surprise certainly is not Kaladin. I was a little shocked that it was this big of a win for Kaladin. I was thinking 65, not 75. And I really thought Dalinar would take up a good chunk of what was remaining, and then a little bit of Shallan. Here's my theory, though. The reason why Shallan is seeing a little bit more love than I anticipated is because we are a Shallan-centric podcast, and the fact that all of our theories that people enjoy are around the Shallan and her family.
True. We have maybe theorized the most about Shallan, which has been really fun on those episodes. And like, you've done a great job of like giving her cred as a character. So maybe we've made some people come around on Shallan. Did you do this form, by the way? Did you vote on these?
I think I voted on like the first 3, and then I got pulled away to work, and then I never went back to it. So plus I kind of just want to see what other people think. Like,
yeah, true. Like,
what about you? Did you vote?
Yeah, of course I did. I'm like, this survey looks great. So I've skewed it by 1 vote, guys. I apologize.
Dude.
Kaladin was my favorite. Like, despite all the cool theorizing, and I've gained appreciation for everything else. Like, The Wave Kings is his book. And when I think about The Wave Kings, I think about Kaladin and his stories. So.
We should put this into perspective. I know we're saying percentages, but Kaladin had 300 votes and second place had 45 votes. Yeah. Like Dalinar came in second and got absolutely pissed on. Like, he didn't have a chance.
Yeah, no, it's a landslide win. It's a landslide win. But hey, it gets way juicier from here on out with the remaining questions. Number 2. Which was your favorite interlude chapter, Jimmy?
Now the pie was a little bit more divided. Tons of like little slices here of just a couple votes for, things like Ishik and Non-Balat, and then also The Glory of Ignorance, work of art. There was a couple of different ones, but the winner at 32% of the vote is Axes the Collector.
Well deserved, honestly. For some reason I was a bit surprised with this, but I freaking love that he's the winner. I don't know, I was kind of expecting like a Szeth chapter just because he's such a beloved character. But then it's like, he has a lot of chapters.
I feel like Szeth, it's just like, I'm more excited to see what he does in book 5. But like, I'm not as interested in him on the reread, I don't think. I think I'm much more interested in like the answers we don't have,
Yeah, for me, like, even so, then you go to like, okay, who are the cool standout interlude characters? Like, Risen really grows into a beloved character in the series too. I thought her, like, she's up there. But our boy Axes stole the show here today.
He did, and then second place was Death Wears White, of course, Szeth, and then we have Risen, who just behind Szeth, because Szeth had 26.9% and Risen had 20.7%. So pretty tight.
Yeah, extremely tight. But yeah, look, the interlude's really fun. I probably enjoyed, like, outside of theorizing and all this stuff, I think that was the most fun part of our reread, diving into the interludes, because often you forget them, and like on a reread you see them in a completely different light. So that was really good. Take it away, Jimmy. What's our next award?
The third award we have to give out today is which is your favorite theory from the podcast thus far? And this one is the most divided. With just, I mean, there's a ton of like really small one. And some people are just throwing in their own thing. I mean, we have Kremlin, Colorado, which is probably my favorite response that I saw. There's also some people who are actually putting in the span read theories specifically. One of the ones that I voted on was Kaladin becoming the Shard of Honor and Syl becoming Stormmother, which is,
that was a good one.
We got a lot of feedback from that, which was a lot of fun. But the winner, Christian, who was it?
Shallan's mother is a herald. Oh, huge round of applause in the audience here, because this is just... It's basically canon, I would say. It's risky even putting it in the theory category. I think we're all but confirmed.
I love it. Were you surprised that it won?
A little bit, because I was like, I mean, like we confirmed pretty much that the Kremlings are kind of watching the characters, but because that's our inside joke, I kind of thought the Kremling one would take it away.
That's what I
But
wanted. Yeah.
yeah, but look, the respect for the Shallan's mother is a herald theory. It's gaining traction. I think the fandom has accepted that it's going to happen, which is great. But look, in a tight second place, well, not that tight, but pretty close second place was the Kremlings are spying on our main characters, followed by our favorite, the sun in Shademar is setting, leading to the Night of Sorrows. Um, and then the rocks having voices was quite a bit lower. Um, and look, the child champion is dying a slow death. Nobody likes it anymore. It's too outlandish. Sanderson wouldn't do it. I kind of get it. But I'm sad to see one of the fandom's like favorite theories go into obscurity. It will be like a fun time. We'll look back and be like, remember? It's like the
There's
Varys is a
something like
mermaid theory.
biblical about that theory that I kind of like, though. You know, whenever
Yeah.
there's like a moral to be sought, or like some sort of like moral crisis that someone has to pick. You know, I'm kind of reminded of the story in the Bible, which I'm blanking on right now, where it was like, the child's mine. No, the child's mine. Okay, well, we will cut the child in half, and you each will have a half of the child. And one mother goes, okay, and the other one goes, no, just give it to her. And he's like, that's the real mother. You know, it feels like Odium's champion being a baby is kind of in that old like Abrahamic moral story. I don't know. There's something about it that I like.
Yeah.
However, is Sanderson going to have Odium's champion be a baby? Probably not.
Yeah. Because you can imagine like 1,000 years from now, they're reading the old text of like the contest of champions and they read that bit. I mean, that feels right. But yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not. This was the first, I think this was the first question where I added the other option. So we have like a million extra like little tidbits, which is fun. I liked seeing, despite like it's very hard to get your vote to win in that sense. I love seeing like everyone's little additions because those theories that I forgot that we even spoke about, to be honest. So
yeah, and some of people actually put in things that were pretty much the options given, so y'all got to read a little better.
Oh, shade from Jimmy. Sorry, I stole the second question from you, but take it away, mate. Like, where are we going next?
Let's see. So what was our favorite moment, or your favorite moment from the Sanderlanche? And this one's a pretty overwhelming. There's really two here. 53%. Go ahead, tell us, Christian. Who
okay, sorry, I'm like, who's saying this bit? 53%. Dalinar trading his blade for Bridge 4. Congratulations. Followed by a second of 34% of Kaladin saying the words. Look, these are like the two largest bits of the Sanderlanche. The revelations of Yasna and Shallan got a measly 3.8%, and Talon returning had a 5%, followed by many custom entries from you guys here. But I feel like the culmination of the entire story of at least the side of the Shattered Plains, it like ends with Dalinar trading his blade. So
Yeah.
it feels like a natural winner. Very well earned here.
Yeah, I think this one was pretty, but for me, it felt kind of obvious what would win. And as Sanderlanches go, the Way of Kings is certainly not the most epic, right? Compared to 2 and 3.
Oh man, the way we structure these surveys. Oh my god,
it's gonna be hard.
Oathbringer is gonna have like 50 options. And
yeah,
it's just gonna. But hey, maybe we'll have a bit more listeners then, and that will be not the most wild thing. We could maybe still get enough votes to make it relevant. But yeah, I mean, Oathbringer is just the sheer amount of moments. I probably couldn't even pose that question. I probably couldn't even.
Oh, we will. We asked the hard question at Lost in Roshar.
Oh, mate, where are we going next? We've done the Sanderlanche. It's time to pull back a bit, I think.
What was your favorite non-Sanderlanche scene? And this pie is very split. Very, very split. This is the closest one so far, I think, out of all of them.
Yeah, definitely.
First place being 25%, second one being 22%, third place 19%, and the fourth being 17%.
Yeah, wow, really close. And look, people also added their custom answers. What was it? There was one scene I'm like, I should have added that because a lot of people had it in the custom answers.
The first stew? Tien's death?
It wasn't. I mean, that came up in sad scenes. Oh, what was it? Maybe it was like the prelude, or there was like it was Kaladin being strung up in the high storm. That was a key scene that I probably should have added as a main option. I kind of regret not putting that in.
Yeah, that's a pretty iconic scene.
Yeah, so that's my bad for forgetting that.
Yeah, what the
But
hell, bro?
maybe it's a bit forgettable, guys. Maybe that's what I'm trying to tell
Oh,
you.
I don't think so.
I'm trying, no, I just genuinely stuffed up there. But hey, the winner with 25% of the votes, Yasna, soul casting the man in front of Shallan. I mean, what does that say about the fan base? I don't know, but I voted for it as well. So I'm with you guys. I
I think
understand.
people just like Yasna.
Hey, dude, I like a bit of magical slay moments.
I like being an intelligent atheist chick, you know?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, dude. And if you're going to kill someone in Stormlight, soul casting, maybe the coolest way to do it. Followed by Kaladin going to the Honor Chasm, very close. Then Shallan drawing cryptics and soul casting the Goblet to Blood, fantastic scene. And Dalinar saving Elhokar from the Chasm Fiend, pretty badass moment.
I would have preferred if the Chasm Fiend ate Elhokar, but that's just me.
Yeah, like let's get it over and done with quickly.
Wait, how is Dalinar not smacking Elhokar around, not on this pie chart?
Because that's in the Sanderlanche, dude. That's
no, that needs its own award.
Hey, it comes up, and it gets the respect it deserves. But look, maybe we should have just done like what's the best scene in the book and have that as the only option.
I would have appreciated it, honestly. Oh, okay.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy Dalinar?
11.
Yeah, okay.
11. Insane. Such a good scene. Also, one of the best podcast moments we've ever recorded.
I agree. There was a lot of delicate editing that I don't think Jimmy really appreciates that I had to do around.
Oh, I appreciate it. I think it's hilarious. It makes it
I
even
had to
funnier
do
for
so
me.
much work to. I'm like, what can I keep in of what Jimmy was saying about this scene? Okay, I can keep this, and okay, we can splice together a sentence here, and I can.
I was quite animated during that.
Yeah,
scene.
look, I had a great time, but it's a PG show, guys. It's a PG show.
Try to
Not
keep
for
it
long,
family
I don't
friendly.
think. Yeah.
I test the waters as much as I possibly can. What scene was the saddest scene for you is our next question, and pretty dominant victory here, if close to dominant victory, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, nothing was going to beat Tien's death at a whopping 46% here. Congratulations to Tien's death. You can't really argue with it. It's the death of a child, beloved to our main character. A huge moment, paced really well in the story. Like, come on. A close second was Kaladin going to the Honor Chasm and almost attempting to take his own life. Then Kaladin being branded a slave, followed by literally any bridge run scene, and then Navani burning the Justice Glyph. So look,
how many votes did Dunny's death get? 23. He only got 23.
Dunny's death?
Yeah, Dunny's death.
That's one person wrote that, I think. I didn't add that in.
Oh,
they've
no,
given
sorry.
It green.
It says green on the key. I'm sorry. Navani burning the Justice Glyph is also green. That's the one that has 23 votes. Only one person put in Dunny's death. Old Dunny.
Yeah.
He's all done up.
Yeah, look, when someone put that in, I was like, don't really remember it. Even on the reread, don't remember it. But like, you know, if Dunny's death really got to you, that's why I add the other option, guys. You can add in your custom votes.
Justice for Dunny. Dude.
I want to give like honorable mention for the absolute legend who customly answered Earless Jack's death, because that's a true listener right there.
That is
the true tragedy that is Earless Jack's and Noseless Pete or whatever that you created. His family member just wiping his empty nose with the tears. So
sad. Someone should have soul casted him a nose.
Yeah, honestly, where's the respect, guys? But look, special golden star to that person, whoever you are, legend.
Yeah, shouts out to you. Who was the best antagonist in this book specifically? And this is a runaway.
I mean, hold your breath, guys, because it's a shocker. Saddest with a whopping, basically 68% of the votes. I mean, Saddest does steal the show here. I'm more curious to do this in Words of Radiance, because the villains and the antagonists get a little bit more, like they share the spotlight a little bit more, but we do get like Saddest kind of gets what's coming to him in that book. I wonder if he's going to win twice in a row. But We'll see. Followed by Taravangian, who got way more cred than us.
I mean, here's the thing. By the end of the book, I mean, you're thinking like, oh my God, there's so much to him. So he's the most compelling antagonist of the book because we don't know any of his motivations at the end of Way of Kings yet, right? Like we're piecing things together still. Saddest is up front, just despicable and we hate him. But I do think the Taravangian's a more interesting antagonist.
Agreed with you there. Amram and Gaz got some credit. Capsule got 3 votes. Respect to those people. Maybe if I titled it Incel Capsule, he would have got more votes. But yeah, look, Saddest wins. Well deserved, Saddest. You've done your job. And respect for you for keeping our blood boiling.
What was the most satisfying moment in the book for you? A runaway on this one. It's not even close.
Runaway. Bridge 4 returning to save Dalinar's army. Is there any question that this was going to win? Probably not. 60% of the votes. Absolutely banger. Dalinar schooling Elokar. 16% of the people get it, Jimmy. That's your crowd right there.
You 16%. That's who I'm speaking to when I talk into this microphone weekly about this book. You will 13.3% of responders are who I'm talking to specifically.
I mean, Kaladin surviving being strung up in the storm, not too bad. 13%. Taravangian's villain reveal got some respect too, but look, Bridge 4 returning to save Dalinar's army. It's the moment we all stood up for. It's the moment that like ties together the plot lines, just like him giving the blade for them. I mean, no surprise. It was more of a question of how much it would win by.
How about the 3 psychopaths that said Gavilar's death? Yeah. Did anyone say Tien's death? No, they didn't.
No.
There's no edgelords out there. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see one sort of psycho answer like that, but Gavilar's death. 3 people standing in solidarity together, 3 Kremlings, scuttling over the deep end, and that's to be commended.
All right, now we have our tightest one, maybe for all 4. It's pretty close to the other one.
Yeah.
What is the most memeable character moment for you? And the winner has 31.9%. Second place is 25.9. Then 26.6. I'm sorry, 26.6 second. Then 25.9, and then 12%, and then a ton of other answers as well.
Which was some of the most fun to read through because they remind you of like jokes we had that I don't remember. But look, I mean, a round of applause for Adolin winning in a comfortable lead. Adolin calling, "Ho, Bridge Boy" to Kaladin. It's a brief moment. It's over before you know it, but it stood the test of time. One line. It was. I think I put it in as the first option just because I was so excited to like have this in our official survey. Followed closely by Dalinar reciting random lines from the Way of Kings to anybody willing to listen. Pretty memeable. Then Elokar obsessing over the strap. You know what? If we made this survey pre our podcast, the strap would get not nearly as many votes. I would like to think that we are
anti-strap. I'd like to think that we're leading the anti-strap movement.
I think so. Look, there are echoes of this podcast in the fandom and the strap talk. I'm like, we like to take credit for things we didn't really do. We love the Shallan's Mum's a Herald theory. Not our theory necessarily. Yes. But the strap, I will die on this hill that we've made the strap a meme. Followed by the amount of times the Devars come across as incredibly sus. I had to find a way to phrase that because I was like, I originally had it as something like the amount of times Shallan interrupts herself thinking about her past, but I was like, that's maybe a little insensitive. So I rephrased it to be about the Devars in general. But look, Ho Bridgeway wins. Take us through some of the highlights of the custom answers here, Jimmy. I think you're the man for the job.
Oh man, so we have airsick lowlanders, which people also always appreciate. We have incel capsule. Everyone getting hot and bothered by safe hand.
I should have added that. That's a big loss from me.
Everything Lopin says. Cal, look at this cool rock.
That's savage.
Wit is memeable. I think that's
okay.
Fair. Yeah. Kaladin being scandalized by the camp girl's uncovered safe hand like an old widow, and sus Kremling appearances. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Look, I think we should have added something about safe hands. You know, you signed off every episode with "Keep Your Safe Hand Covered," and I've just, like that's a meme. Should have added it. Damn, we'll add it in next year, guys.
Yeah, the safe hand's definitely a meme. It's on our outro, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's my bad.
All right,
moving on.
What is the part of Lost in Roshar you look forward to the most? And honestly, I'm not happy about this one, but go ahead and read them, Christian.
You know what? I should have added an all of the above answer, but that's cheating because all of the above always wins. So, a runaway with over half of the votes, outlandish theories, lore drops, and speculation. And you know what? Can't blame him. That's my most
53%.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to a podcast about your favorite series, you want to hear why, like, a random stick is running the show in the background. You know, you want that weird theory. I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted to know why Varys was a mermaid. I wanted to know why Bran was really Bran, like
Tyrion is a time-traveling fetus Targaryen. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. And we've carried that through to this fandom too, which is great.
Shouts out to Preston Jacobs.
Yeah, highly requested guest, but we'll get to that. Followed by character work and literary discussion. So that's Jimmy's slice of the pie there, because I have no idea, and Jimmy takes it away there. The banter, 17% of the votes. Thank you for those people who are here for the banter, and a lowly 8%. Jimmy's voice acting when reading quotes. I'm sorry, mate.
8% is pathetic. You know how much money I could be making doing audiobooks right now with these voices, with this talent? I mean, honestly, come on.
You know
You'll
what?
miss me when I'm gone, folks.
I should have made like a vote for like who was your best voice line. Like, was it 19th century England Kaladin? Because I think that would be the runaway. Because there's like a few Kaladins that you did. You did like English Kaladin, and then you did like bratty American Kaladin. Like, I don't understand. Like that will live with me forever. But then there's British Kaladin, and then there's the Death Rattle readings, which you know what? I used to add sound effects to those in the early episodes. Maybe I need to bring them. I think we just need to double down on you doing the goofy voices. That's my.
I mean, I'm here. I will be even with the lack of appreciation. I will continue my performances and know that after I'm dead, that they will be hailed as greatness.
Look, I think these pie charts are something for us. You know, they've lit a fire up under us, and we're gonna expand that blue portion.
Yeah, instead of listening to feedback about the things you like, I'm just going to focus on the things you didn't like and try to do them better.
Yeah. But hey, man, this is where we get real dicey.
Yeah, this is the best question on the survey because it had the funniest answers.
Yeah.
Who is your dream guest to feature on Lost in Roshar? And obviously, everyone should have known the number one answer was going to be Brandon Sanderson, right? But it was the other answers that I found to be better.
My God. This is the part I checked every day for a good laugh because you guys were absolutely unhinged. Absolutely unhinged, might I say. Like, some of these answers, speechless.
Dave Chappelle. Henry Cavill was definitely number 2, by the way. Henry Cavill was number 2.
I think if we have to give an award, it's to Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Daniel Green was also very popular in this survey. I don't think Daniel Green would agree to come on this podcast. I can't imagine.
I think he would.
He's a busy guy. I don't think he's interested in hearing me talk about safe hands. But Wemby, the NBA player, was also very popular.
Yes.
Again, not a chance. Barack Obama was on here.
I'll be happy to. If he wants to talk about Rhythm of War, I'm here.
George R. Martin. I don't know why. This is on here. Charles Barkley.
Hey, bit of an NBA theme.
You know, I like basketball quite a bit. I bet on it all the time. Christina Applegate is also on here. Alt Shift X, the GOAT.
Oh my gosh, my hero.
Of course, Man Carrying Thing, Jake, our good friend. That one's definitely possible. And then just, I mean, many, many other. Capsule, Hoyd, B. Swift.
Murphy got a lot of love, I think.
Yes, Murphy Napier was mentioned many, many times. And I think that one's also very possible as, me and Murphy are good friends and everything.
Oh.
Yes. Rubbing elbows with book 2 royalty as it was. Just a ton of Henry Cavill, though. Like, honestly, it's ridiculous how many Henry Cavills we got.
So much Henry Cavill. A lot of like Cosmere expert channels and stuff, which would be fun. Although we would just be sort of gape, like our mouths agape, being like, You spawn your Kremlings, guys, and they'd outsmart us at every turn.
I am always sussed that anyone would find me humorous that is like, involved in the community. I feel like
they'd be like, stop messing around.
Yeah, like, can we get serious now? And I'd be like, no, we cannot.
Look, there are some a lot of people want to be on the podcast themselves. Like, me was a very, like, maybe third place of people just be like, have me on, get in touch. So look, this was.
That's what they say until they see the Australian schedule I got to keep.
Yeah, you ready to get up at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
Look, my personal favorite is Bob Ross. As someone put Bob Ross as a guest.
Mine was Barack Obama. I would love to have Barack Obama on. I think it'd be a wonderful time. But Brandon Sanderson, hey, maybe one day when he realizes just the amazing community that we have built around Kremlings.
I would love to. I just don't know how to properly get in touch. It feels like sometimes it just feels like how do you do it?
I think you have to like beat Dan Wells in a game of Magic the Gathering, and then they let you come over to the Elantra suite, and then you have to not be a jerk. Which
I think I just go to the bathroom mirror with my copy of the Leatherbound. I turn off all the lights and I say Brandon Sanderson 3 times, and then he appears and answers 3 of my cosmic questions. So look, I'll try that, and we'll see if it works. If not, we can't say we didn't try.
Next question, though, is did you reread the book at the same pace as the podcast episodes? And let me tell you, folks, my disappointment continues to grow as the survey goes on and on and on. Christian, read these ridiculous results.
46%. No, I didn't reread at all.
Absurd.
So we've got a 46% fake fans, is what I'm understanding. Look,
crazy.
Jimmy was shocked. I was like, of course not. Like, who's actually going to pace themselves at all? Like, there's no way. But look, let's continue. 33%. No, I rushed ahead. Understandable. Especially with us taking weeks off sometimes. Go ahead. And then 7.1% true legends who thought, you know what, I'm closing the book not until the next Lost in Roshar is ready. And respect the commitment. Then a whole lot of custom answers, which was really fun to read because I got to know like how you guys interact with the podcast and the book. And it wasn't me. It was just people sharing like where they're up to in their rereads, like how far they've done. Some insane people who have like, I'm on my 87th reread. What are you talking about? So like, that was really fun to read all that. But look, nobody wants to read with us, Jimmy. How do you feel?
I feel offended. No, I'm just kidding. I will say I am surprised that it was the majority, but maybe that's just kind of a reality check for this thing.
Yeah.
But the service that which we provide is one that you can take an hour, maybe 2 out of your week, and you can go hang out in Roshar for a little bit, and you don't have to read with us. So it's actually not that shocking. So many people were around, for that kind of experience. I myself listen to other podcasts for other series and stuff that I don't have the time to reread, but I'd like to be immersed once a weekend. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what I do with your show, Bend the Knee. I don't reread A Song of Ice and Fire, but a good chapter summary and discussion. It's like, it scratches that itch for now.
Yeah, and you remember something, you're like, oh my God. If anything, it's nice to visit, Roshar once a week for a lot of people. So I'm glad that we can provide that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And hey, we've arrived at our last question, which was kind of more for us, just to gather like who's doing this survey. But like, I think it'd be somewhat interesting for you guys to hear about.
Yeah, which is the preferred platform to use consuming Lost in Roshar podcast. And it's pretty heavily in favor of YouTube. It's 52%, 30% being Spotify, and then Apple coming in at third place with like 6 or 8. I can't read that small number, but majority YouTube. Now, I do think that this is a bit skewed because we have to keep in mind now, even though several hundred of people did respond to this, which was incredible, we have thousands of people that listen to the episode each week. So obviously this is just a sample size, which we know, and it's kind of for fun. But also, I have the opinion that YouTube viewers / listeners are more likely to engage in the survey than listeners are. At least that's my feeling. Yeah,
I agree with that too. And like, I can pin it in a comment. I can put in the description. I did a community post on YouTube too. So it's like quite available to see this survey where it's like, you could have just not been listening to the start of our last episode and like totally missed this on a podcasting platform. Because if we look at the numbers, it's kind of like 50-50 between podcast apps and YouTube to some extent. Maybe YouTube's a bit in the lead over time.
Maybe over time, but so are the old episodes on our podcast platforms. I mean, they have a lot.
Yeah, like I scrolled down the other day to see like the first 5 episodes, and they're like so much bigger.
Oh, they've blown way up. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it's like a gradient from episode 1 to now, like people are catching up, which is really fun to see. Mm-hmm. But our first episode on YouTube is also growing quite a bit. I think it's around like 15,000, which is like astounding to me. And then everyone realized they're not bothered, and no, nobody watches that.
It's always sad with the podcast, and we've experienced this on Bend the Knee as well. Is like people go back and listen to your first episodes. Like I wasn't even on the first episodes of Bend the Knee, and you're still figuring it out. You know, when you launch the show and trying to find the balance between banter and the material. And some episodes, you know, admittedly, maybe we went a little off script too far or something, and then you lose people. But you know, I do think we've tightened it up. I think we have a better product than we did when we first started. And it's always kind of a little bit of a shame if a lot of people start at episode 1, which might be surprising to people. But yeah, people start literally at episode 1 no matter what. And as we were figuring out, hopefully we didn't lose those people. But yeah, the episodes seem to grow over time pretty well.
Yeah, it's like I haven't actually listened to those early episodes again. But I would argue to say like we probably started quite structured. Then we started having a lot of fun and talking about random stuff for maybe a bit too long. And now we've like pulled that back a little, and we've got like a good little schedule, one might say, for an episode.
Yeah, I would agree. And also like, who cares? Like it's just like we're just having a good time.
Honestly, whatever. But hey, all awards have been handed out. Winners, congratulations. Runners up, congratulations. Special congratulations to the guy who said Eilish Jax.
Yes.
But hey, our first award show is concluded, and we're about to go on a road trip, man.
Yes, we are. We're doing our first road trip, side trip, whatever you want to call it. And that is to Warbreaker. We are going to be doing the first 20 chapters, and then we'll do the next 20 chapters and then the final 20 chapters. So the next 3 episodes will be Warbreaker, but we encourage you to send us span reads at the email address lostandroshar@gmail.com. That way that we can hear what you think about Warbreaker or how it ties into Stormlight, and we can go over that in those episodes as well. And if it's something at the end of Warbreaker, you know, that's fine. We might save it to that episode, but we would love to kind of hear a dialogue from you listeners as we go into this little side vacation. Or if you have things, you know, that we should be looking forward to in Words of Radiance that, you know, maybe you've caught on to, you know, you can also give us a nice little hype train going into Words of Radiance, which we will be picking up on as soon as we finish the 3 episodes with Warbreaker.
And it's a good way to skip the queue because we've got a long backlog of span reads that we're going through. Yeah. But like if you want to get in now, send a Warbreaker
of emails.
So many. And I tend to favor the Kremling ones, but I get reined in sometimes, so that's okay.
That's right.
But yeah, guys, pack your colorful clothing. Get your breaths all packed and ready. You want to get to about the 3rd heightening for about next week, so we can enjoy this book the most. I'll give a little teaser. I did start it last week, and I'm having a fantastic time being back in Warbreaker. If anything, I'm enjoying it more. I love the magic. I love the world. I love the vibes, and going in with it with my little Cosmere hat on is exciting. So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. This was a fun thing. Let us know if you want us to do this every time. I think even just for us, we're going to do this for every Stormlight book. I think it's a fun thing to do.
I agree.
Nice chill way to wrap things up.
Yeah, and having a week that I don't have to read is also kind of, I mean, I'm reading other stuff, but like, you know, it's a little bit of the recharge the batteries type deal. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. But as always, guys, look, thank you for accompanying us on this episode of Lost in Roshar. Remember, the most important chapter a man can read is the next one. We'll see you next time as we jump into the first 20 chapters of Warbreaker.
And if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, be sure to leave us a review on whichever platform you listen on. If you have questions or theories, span read us at lostandroshar@gmail.com. We'll see you next time on Lost in Roshar. And remember, folks, please For the love of the Kremlin, keep that safe hand covered.